Welcome to episode 476 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
How you doing, fellas?
Fucking amazing.
You tell the weather's cold because I'm looking at the here and I'm here in an hoodie. I can see Glenny's in his hoodie, and instead that doesn't have an hoodie, I don't think. But he's in a jacket though, in a zip up hoodie.
Oh, I don't know. It's t-shirt and shorts weather.
So as he unzips his fucking hoodie and starts to, and I believe took his penis out. Like, what was that? I can't see below the line there. But,
like, where is he going with this?
I mean, look,
where does it begin and where does it end?
I mean, it was definitely the movement was like, we can only sort of see like above your waist.
He's like, oh, you guys are wearing your hoodies. It's time for me to get my dick out.
No, I was scratching my leg.
Yeah, that's what you call it.
Yeah. Okay, tripod. Now,
I fucking wish that by scratching my upper thigh, I could give the illusion I was doing anything else. But I was squarely scratching my upper thigh.
This is why you're a 10.
He's a 10. He's a 10, but he pulls his dick out while you're trying to record a podcast. Now, this week we have a shortened Origin affected round, and excuse me, I'm just trying to grab the Origin teams because I forgot to fucking line that one up because we do want to look at the Origin stuff, and there's a couple of news stories that we want to talk about as well. I guess we don't need to go too hard on the Origin because it is a full week from today when the game happens, and we do have an episode between now and then, but. Just a couple of small things to discuss on the New South Wales side of things. With the injury to Payne Haas, it's looking like Jordan McLean is going to be taking his spot in the starting side. Thoughts?
I was a big Jordan McLean fan, and I remember vividly the expectations he had on him when he left the Storm to go up to the Cowboys. He was a big signing at the time because he was fucking damaging, but then he did himself in the nines before the fucking season. Who the fuck sends you fucking premier signing of a prop to the fucking nines anyway? But he's never really hit the heights again. And I'm not saying,
and he's been good this season, but there, I mean, when you do the basic stat comparison against certain people that he was perhaps selected over. And I mean, there are agendas against certain players getting them back because of the way they, because they carried on like fucking cunts when they were dropped last time, David Clemmer. But,
which, fucking putting that on Front Street, I'm not opposed to.
No.
Unless, like said player, like, do you remember the Latrell stuff? The first time that he was dropped?
Yeah.
And he came out, and there was a little bit of argy-bargy around it in the beginning, but he essentially took the maturity route and said that he'd reached out to Freddie and they'd spoken and he talked about, what he needed to do to get back into that arena.
Yeah.
If people have done that, I'm fucking all for it. But until they have, fuck off. If you've been a cancer in camp, get out. See ya. Don't want you.
Yep.
How is it that you can't, like, in that environment, that you can't find a way to not be a cunt? Like, this is the elite, the pinnacle of sport. And
there's so many ways you can look at it. Yeah, like the pinnacle of this sport. It's the, almost, for, almost more valuable than a selection in the national side.
And because of the level of competition, it's 100% more valuable.
Mm.
And then, even if you're not motivated by personal achievement and legacy, it's like $30K in your pocket. Like
that's it.
It's like legit cash money.
Yeah.
So it's like people can. Well, we've spoken about football players and some of the prevailing attitudes. Now we had Jack White in there in 18. So the situation with the centres and everything hasn't come to pass. I mean, we're remaining with Birdo and Crichton, which I'm perfectly happy to do. Just today, before we recorded the show, before we started recording, we had Nico Hines, who was unlikely to play anyway, he was outside of the 17. COVID scare through the Sharkies. Couple of players got the COVID. I think Nico was one of them. And as a result, coming into camp, Chad. Now,
Great heavens.
obviously, it would take major catastrophe for him to be required to take the field. However, once again, in season 2022,
it's not as laughable this year.
Fuck all of you. Yeah, fuck everyone who said anything ever about my $800,000 a year contract with the Cowboys, including the 3 concert hosts this week in league, and probably every other fucking podcast host in the land and journalist and person on Twitter. He continues. Big Chad keeps deep dicking all of us, or at least deep dicking our words. And look, I respect it. I got to say, I'm loving it.
He's not as lovable, but is he the fucking Forrest Gump of the NRL?
There's a couple of players that I think. I mean, there's various aspects of players that you could put into that. Like, I think, in terms of like the pseudo profound commentary, Cooper Cronk with his blog, and also Will Zillman like talking about taming horses and shit. Like, I think both of those guys are super contenders as well. But yes, but look, I'm fucking here for it. Now on the Queensland side of things, Nanai comes in the second row.
Can I just point out that I'm glad that none of the replacements at all for New South Wales have anything to do with Parramatta Eels.
That's probably the funniest angle about Chad coming in, because when he comes in, that's at the expense of Mitchell Moses, who you would think would be second drop.
Well, look, here's the thing: where are the Eels sitting on the ladder this year?
Somewhere in the lower half of the 8, right?
And where are the Cowboys sitting?
Yeah, plenty high.
How many rings has Mitch Moses got?
Ouch.
Well, I mean, he is one of the rings in the 3-ring circus there at the Eels. He and Gutho and fucking Brad Arthur.
Rings. He's a ring.
Putting it out there is a premiership winning half whose club is in the top 4 firmly.
Yes.
Who got selected over a fucking known tantrum throwing fuckhead.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that surprising.
No.
Maybe Mitchy Moses had his card stamped.
It is very satisfying though. Super satisfying.
It is. Sorry, on to Queensland.
Yeah, so Gilbert joining the bench. Sam Walker comes into the pool of reserves. And Nanai into the second row. I don't think there's anything surprising or controversial or particularly impactful. No. Honestly.
No.
I mean, the thing with Nanai, there is something representative wise, actually any level of footy that Kaufusi brings to a team, apart from the grubbery. Like, he also, I mean, he is a good hole runner, and deadly from sort of short range.
Yep.
With well placed passes,
and in terms of that origin effort, like he understands, especially at this stage of his career, how to manage a game. Yeah. And I forget which radio show I heard it on, but I heard someone saying it, and it was a great analogy that an origin match is like a triathlon, in that there are so many options to go too hard too early or to go too hard in the wrong sections.
Yep.
And not manage yourself for the game properly. And Felice Kaufusi's fucking great at managing himself for a game, so he can just keep giving and keep giving and keep giving. He'll be a big out for him. Yep.
Now, we'll talk about the actual game itself, and the teams will be perfectly settled and finalised, I'd imagine, by the time we record next. But a story come out today. Or was it yesterday? What's the date? No, it's today. About Lukey Brooks slamming the West Tigers officials regarding the whole circus around him potentially being axed that came out, sort of the first week of the before the last Origin game. And when asked about it, Brookesy said, I did see it. It was pretty disappointing it came out in the media, and in the end, obviously, it wasn't true. I think it came from a place where it probably shouldn't have, and that's what's frustrating sometimes about this club. A fair few stories get leaked out, and I think this comes from people a lot higher than us. In the end, it obviously didn't happen because I played. It's just another thing. What can you do? He also revealed that discussions with Tigers coaches surrounded his improvement, not a potential axing. Myself not being spoken to and seeing it all in news was pretty frustrating, but it was all cleared up, and in the end I was playing, so it was all a bit of a storm in the teacup. Noddy was good with that. He wanted to talk to me first. That's a frustrating thing that came out through the media. But then he went on to say, I need to find the quote, where he basically came out and said that next time, comes to contract negotiations, he's gonna have to take care of himself and not think about the club. Now this podcast is blessed, hashtag blessed to have a West Tigers supporter amongst our number. Glennie, what do you think about that? I mean, I'm all for Brookesy firing up a little bit because he does cop it. But what do you, as a West Tigers fan...
I probably have a sliver more respect for the guy because this year he's been fucking the whipping boy for everything West Tigers. Some of it deserved, some not so much, for years.
Dally half of the year under Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's not forget. Is he the only award winner that the West Tigers have had in the last decade? Has he brought the only bit of silverware associated with that club? And they're treating him like this.
In the last decade?
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think there was someone won a community award or something.
Did he get a trophy? Did they?
I don't know who, but surely someone did.
Someone stole their kid's McDonald's voucher from the fucking under 11.
Someone filled in at the year 3 fucking tunnel ball at the athletics carnival, and they got a ribbon. Does that count? That was probably Brookesy. That was probably Brookesy as well because he's the only one. He's the same height as him. Look, this year he has barked back a bit at the media and had a bit to say in response to some of the criticism that's come his way, and I haven't seen that from him previously. To address your question directly, Nathan, I think it's laughable that Luke Brooks feels like he is going to have an opportunity to have a negotiation about another contract at the West Tigers. Because if he thinks that discussions or comments from the club to him directly weren't forthcoming in regards to him playing last weekend were bad, wait till no one fucking contacts him or his manager about him playing for the club after his contract expires. Jeez, he's going to have a bit to say. I think, I've said it before, I think the best thing for Luke Brooks is to play somewhere else. And not because he hasn't shown great loyalty, far more loyalty than the other guys that were told all those years ago by Ivan. And it's probably one of the things that I loved most about Ivan when he was coaching the Tigers was the fact that he had the stones to draw that line in the sand for the Tedescos and the Moses and Brooks and Woods. When he did, and I think it was the best thing for the club. Unfortunately, after Ivan left, the club went back to being this wishy-washy fucking player power bullshit that has plagued us since our inception. So, I don't think Luke Brooks will get another contract at the Tigers, and I think that's probably a good thing for him as he probably starts to enter the back half of his career.
Okay, so let's stay with the West Tigers.
Let's.
Another standoff that we have here, Adam Dewey. He has dropped a bombshell by asking Brett Camorley to pick him in New South Wales Cup if he won't select him in his preferred position of 5'8". He's been selected in centre this week and is in his third week since he returned. But he contacted Camorley on Tuesday to ask the question about playing 5'8" in New South Wales Cup after being selected in the centres. Tim Sheens then smoothed things over, but and then Dewey said he'd put the team first and trained in the centres. But the Tigers, they've told him that they view his best position as 5'8" and intend to give him every opportunity to play there. However, he's not selected there and will line up against Parramatta in the centres. He's gone on the record multiple times stipulating that 5'8" is his preferred position. And so the Tigers have to figure out how to fit
I think
three ball players into two positions.
I think part of the problem is that no one at the Tigers understands that the 5'8" wears number 6. I think that's part of the problem. Maybe it's a slight education process that the Tigers need to undergo. Again, the common denominator here is Luke Brooks. Because 6 isn't his best position.
It's really not. The common denominator is the club.
Oh, no, yeah.
Common denominator is Justin Pascoe. You know what another common denominator?
They're still trying to shoehorn Luke Brooks into the side when they've got a guy that's better in the 6 than Brooks playing in the centres, and a guy that's better than Brooks in the 7 playing in the 7. So,
but this is the thing, though. Who do they then put in the centres? This is that argument. You've got a guy, you've got a serviceable half in Brooks, serviceable, and a great centre in Dewey, or you get a good half in Dewey and who? A fucking rookie in the centres?
Well, they've got, to be fair, they've got nothing to lose by playing a younger guy in the centres.
But who have they got, though? Are you bringing
someone
up
they've got
Regis?
Junior Tupou in 20 in the reserves and Asu Kapoa, both of which have played centres. They're both sitting on the reserves list.
Yeah, okay. So is the team better with Brooks not in it and them at centre?
I think they've got an opportunity. They've got little on the bench. If they feel like they need to find a way to have Brooks in the side, then have him come off the bench and play that hooking role.
Yeah, okay.
You want to know another common denominator is that Dewey, Brooks, and Hastings are all off contract at the end of next season. So from November 1st, people can start putting in their bids for Dewey.
Yeah.
As well. So
I think Dewey legit would want to stay at the club.
Because they've shown him such loyalty and telling him one thing and doing something else. Yeah, I can imagine why. Yeah,
he's also being touted as a future captain.
That's like the guy that says, the strippers are actually interested in me for my personality."
What do you mean then? People gravitate towards me, even strippers.
Here's the thing, though. I think for Luke Brooks, I'm not sure.
Luke Brooks, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure that anything.
We've got a Brooksy sympathiser in our mix.
Oh no,
there's two things.
And it's not the Brooksy simp.
I think for Paul Brooksy, the issue is he thinks that there's all this stuff being leaked by the club. When the fact of the matter is, the journos have come out and said that West Tigers chaos gets clicks. So they're just going to fucking make shit up.
Even if it's not there, they will fucking come. That's what journalists do. Poor journalists. If it's not there, they'll make it up.
But then the other side of things is the amount of shit I've seen where all of a sudden now being dropped is this like rite of passage that all good players go through. How many good players ever get dropped to Reggies? None. Fucking none. Like, good players don't come through and get dropped because of form. They might come back up through Reggies if they've had an injury or some time out of the game or whatever it might be.
But the really good ones don't.
No, they don't. They never get fucking
When was the last guy that was in the top 10 players in the comp that had an injury for any period of time, including a fucking ACL?
Yeah.
And came back through Reggie's.
Yeah.
Did not happen.
I'm even trying to think of, I remember times when people have been sent to Reggie's for disciplinary reasons. Mm-hmm. That's vastly fucking different.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Send Brooksy down to Reggie's for being a lippy little cunt in the media and fucking put Dewey at 6.
I think the way forward here, Nate, is for us to start a crowdfunding fucking GoPayMe account to lodge an official third-party sponsor bill to keep Brooksy at the Tigers. I think we should fucking do it.
Just as bad as those fucking journos. You just want the content.
Love it.
So the last thing to talk about is that this is not finalised yet, but it seems to people are reporting it as if it's pretty much happening. That Reece Walsh is set to end up back at the Broncos after the revelations he will quit the Warriors, and I think Tamari Martin will be going the other way to sweeten the deal, and perhaps deal with some of the cash that no doubt he'd be wanting to receive. And also another component of the deal is that Charles Nickel-Klokstad will be going back to New Zealand as well, so filling the vacated fullback role. Now, Selwyn Cobbo wants to sign. The Broncos are re-signing him on a bulk amount of money, and he apparently wants to get his hands on the ball more and play fullback. Mm-hmm. So, which then leads to further speculation that Reece Walsh may be moved to the halves.
Because every fullback makes a 5'8".
Apparently.
Did Reece Walsh play 5'8" coming up?
I've no idea.
That would be the only wrinkle.
There's another wrinkle to the deal though as well, in that apparently there's bad blood between the Warriors and the Dolphins. I'm not sure why, given that they fucking use their area as a base of operations, but one of the stipulations of releasing Walsh. Now, the reason why they talk about personal circumstances with Reece Walsh unable to go to New Zealand, and that's because he split up with his partner, and they've got a kid, and he doesn't want to be in another country away from his kid, which is fair enough. But they've given him permission to explore his options, which equals the Broncos, with conditions, and one of the conditions was that he couldn't go to the Dolphins. So Bennett and the Dolphins are no doubt furious, and they've contacted the NRL, it's been reported, to say, listen, how can he be put on the market without being put on the market, and B, how can they say, you can only negotiate with the Broncos? So
what the fuck's that?
Because the Dolphins, there's been a lot of talk about them wanting Reece Walsh and him being, a highly prized target for them, and they were going to throw a fortune at him, like $2.8 million over, 4 years or something like that, or 3 years, so like a decent amount of cash. And so they're kind of arcing up about it as well. So
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so the Dolphins are demanding clarification. Looks like the Broncos are going to get him. Also looks like the Broncos are going to be keeping Cobbo and playing him at fullback. And the Warriors have got, it has to be said, a reasonable fullback replacement in CNK.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
So I guess it should all be set in stone and confirmed and ratified by the time we record next. But yeah,
here's the thing. This is what happens, I guess, when you're dealing with contracts and things like that. The aggrieved party gets to set the conditions. It's a fucking strange one, and who knows? Maybe the Warriors look at having the Broncos on side as a better option than not, I guess, or having someone on side and pissing off the Dolphins, who really don't have any clout, is a better option than having no favours owed to them. Who fucking knows how serious favours are between clubs? Who knows if CEOs call each other and go, hey, you remember the Reece Walsh thing, I'm calling in this favour, and they go, sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Who knows? I don't know how that shit works, but the other thing is, it may also come down to who the manager is. And it may even have been that the Warriors didn't demand it, so it might not be bad blood between the Warriors and the Dolphins. maybe the manager came in and said, hey, this is the reason he needs to leave. And to show you that this is the reason, and we're not chasing money and we're not trying to negotiate with multiple clubs, we are happy to say to you that the only place he wants to play for is Brisbane. And we're happy to put that in the release. You know, that's feasible as well. If you're trying to get out, like just get an out and you have zero leverage, that sort of transparency can be used in lieu of leverage, I guess, to have enough trust in the negotiations to let him go ahead. So who fucking knows? My query is, I've seen him touted as the next $1 million man. What's his contract? Have you got any details on that?
At the moment, or this potential one coming to the Broncos?
The one coming to the Broncos.
No, not yet. It'll all come out in the wash. It'll probably be available next time we record.
Yeah, okay. Because I'll be interested.
So at the moment, it's just like and there's nothing. There's nothing in stone yet. They're just reporting it as sort of agreements, done deals, but no actual numbers getting around.
Because what I'd be worried about if I'm a Broncos fan, is has the club fallen to the stage where they are now paying for potential?
Well, yeah, maybe the thoroughbreds are back.
Maybe they are.
Who knows? Who knows? Right, moving on to round 17. Origin affected. A lot of teams getting their bye now in the final Origin affected round. The first game on Thursday night is the Sharkies versus the Storm at I can't remember what we call the Reclaim Australia Stadium. That's right.
There we are.
That's right. And okay, so the Sharkies have Talakai out for Origin, so Tracy replaces him, and Toby Rudolph also with COVID joins Nicho Hines and on the sideline. So Fafita moves into the front row. Trindle comes in at half, and Hamlin Ueli joining the bench in his injury return. The Storm side, Nicarima drops to the reserves. In number 21 it is. Meany shifts to 5'8". What else have we got here? Brandon Smith starts at hooker. Harry Grant's off with Queensland duties. Aramia comes in the wing. King comes in at lock. Nelson Asafa Solomon at prop. Kamakamika benched. Jordan Grant and Alec McDonald on the bench. Yeah.
I think this will be an entertaining game, even despite the players that are out. Pappenhausen, Jerome Hughes, and obviously Brandon Smith still in the Storm side. I think that's still a formidable hurdle for the Sharks to get over. The Sharks are at home, but I think Melbourne will still win, and Melbourne will be still nursing some sore asses after last week's performance. So,
yeah,
yes, and I think the bounce back factor from that alone is heavily in the Storm's favour. The Sharks as well. I mean, Nicho Hines is one of those critical players, I think, in their good moments this season. And they were going to be without him anyway because of Origin, but I guess we'll see how this COVID thing goes long term for him as well. But I'm happy to go with the Storm on this one, I think.
Yep.
Newcastle Knights take on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. This one's taking place in Newcastle. And Newcastle Knights side welcoming back Jaden Brayley, which is a huge in for the side. Bradman Best comes back at centre, and he'll replace Gagai, who's playing for Queensland, obviously. And the Rabbitohs side, Campbell Graham out injured. Hammy Saleh with a hamstring injury, he's out injured. Cook and Murray are on Origin duty. So Milne returns to the lineup at centre. Burgess starts at prop, and Mawala is added to the bench. Nichols is lock, and Havili is hooker, and Taffy joins the bench. And there we go, Michael Cheekham. He's back from injury, and he's on the bench. I'd forgotten that he was at Souths.
Nice.
Mitchell will be better for last week's run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Cook and Murray are massive outs for the Bunnies with on Origin duty, and conversely, Bradman Best and Brayley are big ins for Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
which makes for a much more competitive game than it otherwise would have been.
Yeah.
This is a massive call, but I'm going to tip Newcastle in an upset.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Cook is a big out, but yeah, Havili is a good hooker as well. Like, he's not, he's not like some guy they're just trying to, shoehorn into a position to fill a hole, that's been vacated, just because of Origin. So the Rabbitohs side, while Murray, I think, and Cook are decent outs, they haven't been brutalised either as much as they could have been.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, there's a fair amount of stability there in that lineup, and look, I guess we could. Yeah, it's a good test of the Knights' form though, to see how, I guess how accurate a representation of where they currently are. It was, the big win over the Titans, because the Titans, they were absolutely fucking terrible last week.
Yeah, they were,
and I guess we get to see how much of that the Knights' win last week was thanks to the Titans or thanks to them turning a corner. But I think Brayley being back in, I mean, fucking how many games did he play for them? It seems like every preseason he has like a almost season-ending injury.
Yeah.
So he must be. He's surely like sort of the amount of games like on one hand, count on one hand games he's played for them, and so maybe the return of Brayley and the ever amazing influence of Sexy Texy is enough, but I'm still going to favour the Rabbits.
Yeah.
Brayley's played 25 games for the Knights.
25? Holy shit.
2 in 2020. 23, 2021.
So it must have been 2020 I was thinking about, yeah. There was that extra year in his contract I didn't realise. Yep. I thought it was back-to-back years. Okay, so you're going to Knights then, Glennie?
I'm going to tip the Knights.
I'm still going Rabbits, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Rabbits on this one.
Whilst acknowledging that the Rabbits themselves, they've been fairly fucking patchy at times and unpredictable, but I feel like I feel like they're kind of getting it more. They feel like they're getting it more together over the last couple of weeks.
And again, the addition of Latrell and just the attention he generates on the field,
yep,
I feel will be enough.
Okay, we go to Saturday night, and the West Tigers take on the Parramatta Eels at Leichhardt Oval.
This is great. I reckon this is the shortest odds you've been all year, Glennie.
What are the country?
You're only $4.
That's fucking
huge chance.
That's easy.
And obviously the bookies are taking into account the last start where the West Tigers easily defeated the Eels.
That's fair.
I reckon it's the first time I've seen you under $7. That's great.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's some real dairy. Why are you telling me well done? I don't set the odds, nor do I play for the team.
Let's see what the odds are at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. West Tigers side. Tamau returns. Seyfarth drops to the reserves. James Roberts is out with, as we mentioned earlier, Dewey starting at centre. Matamua is set to debut and Lids on the bench. Justin Matamua, know anything about him, Glennie?
0.
Expecting big impact?
I have 0 expectations because I know nothing about the young man. Yeah, I've got nothing to offer other than he clearly has come from nowhere because he doesn't even have a profile picture on his NRL entry.
And number 17, I think he made his debut last week there in Whenua. I believe it's Whenua Pole pronounced, but first glance I thought, there we go, Mahi Whenua. He's over enjoying his time over in England, but he's left his fucking penis at Leichhardt to play for the Tigers. And it's finally cracked the bench for first grade. So,
little known fact that Mahi Whenua's pole is actually taller than Mahi Whenua himself.
Yeah, well, and that's no doubt. He couldn't take it to England with him. I mean, he was over 32 kilos, so he couldn't afford the surplus baggage charges. Eel side, okay. So Junior Paulo, he's out. He's playing for New South Wales. So Nikore shifts to prop. Madison goes in at lock after missing last week's game. Gutherson is named and will play unless there's an absolute fucking catastrophe. Let's be honest. And, Eels stung last week by the Rabbits. West Tigers stung by the Warriors. Two sides due for a win.
One side.
34 players hurting. Which team will prevail, Glennie?
I think it's pretty obvious that the West Tigers have the wood over the Parramatta Eels. And I don't think you have to be the host of a rugby league podcast to know that. Anyone that knows anything about rugby league will have a true understanding that the likes of Clint Gutherson and Mitchell Moses still suffering scary dreams, Nathan, if you will, over their last performance against the Tigers. And I expect...
Deep shame.
I expect the tantric man himself to have 130 touches and the Tigers to win convincingly. Not the nail-biting field goal victory that was last time. I think that that put the Eels to the sword, and there'll be no match for the Tigers in this game.
Jesus.
Just dented confidence. Rugby league is a confidence sport, and I think that's, if you know anything about rugby league, you don't even have to know as much as I know about rugby league to know that it's a confidence sport, and the Eels will have no confidence going into this game against the Tigers, given the way that they were disposed of the last time they met.
But I believe it was former coach Michael Maguire on the Tiger Town show who did state that the West Tigers are always in a bottomless pit of self-loathing with zero confidence.
And sometimes in a game.
He took that one with him. They haven't been in the game since.
He did.
Final game of the round. I'm actually going to this one. The Broncos
hang
take
on, boys. You haven't... Who are you tipping?
I mean, really?
Not West.
Fuck you guys.
Really?
It's embarrassing. You guys are embarrassing.
The Broncos take on the Dragons at Suncorp. Broncos side. Capewell, Cobbo, Carrigan and Flegler are all out for State of Origin duty. Tamari Martin injured. Corey Jensen also injured. So Tessie New returns at fullback. Jordan Pereira on the wing. Who else is in there? Palacia and James at prop. Hosking debuts in the back row. Ricky and Hetherington starting as well. And Corey Pakes and Tyson Gamble joined the bench. The Dragon side. Easy. Jaden Sullivan replaces Ben Hunt.
Can the Dragons win? I don't think Dragons can win.
Can they win without Ben Hunt?
No.
Has he given enough of the sauce to the side that they can carry on without him?
When I was taking my notes for Monday's show, I felt like it was like the fourth or fifth time this year that I've said that everything the Dragons did well came through Ben Hunt.
Yep.
Which is a glowing indication of how reliant they are upon him for to produce plays and efforts to keep them in games. And with him not there, I just don't know that there's another player like that. Jaden Sullivan, with all due respect to the young kid, he's not that guy. And I think I'm expecting a big game from Adam Reynolds for the Broncos as well.
Do you reckon he's physically up to it, though?
I think as a competitor, I don't think last week's game would sit well with him. And I would imagine there's going to be a fair bit of needling. He'll play needled up, and I think he'll have a big game.
But he will have to be for the Broncos to be in this game because, like, the heart and soul of the team at the moment, Carrigan and Kurt Capewell are out, Flegler as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Cobbo's always dangerous, especially against teams that, aren't the most amazing defensively.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, like it seems weird, but on paper it's like, well, the Dragons looking pretty good, but Ben Hunt, as we've observed over their reasonable run of form over the last month or two, it's all come from him. And can they exist without that huge, important piece.
I say no.
I say no as well. But I'm here to be surprised. And yeah, I'm going to this game. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it under protest, but my little nephew's up from the bush, and he wanted to go and see the footy. And unfortunately, Southeast Queensland put one game of football on this weekend, and it had to be this weekend.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's Broncos versus
Life
fucking Dragons.
Life in the bush must be bad.
Oh, mate.
If you're going to watch these two cunt sides for fun.
Armidale, mate.
Oh,
Fucking tell me about the place.
nothing good came out of there.
Nothing. Nothing whatsoever.
Arsehole of the earth. No, Lithgow is the arsehole of the earth. Armidale is the...
Dennis Ferguson of the earth.
I wasn't going there. I wasn't going to do it. I feel like you ran off the edge and fucking clipped me on the way through, and I fucking fell as well.
So who are you going for? Who are you going for the win in this one, stepdad?
Again, I just think the professionalism of Reynolds, and again, especially after what he did last week.
Nothing.
Exactly. He's got a bounce back.
Lay down and fucking presented.
Yeah, exactly. He has a bounce back game in him. Plus, mixed with the fact that the Dragons just don't have Ben Hunt, and I know that's a simplistic answer, but we went through it last episode. I said that if MVP award was given out to the person whose team goes to the most shit when they're not there, he wins it by a country mile. Anything good that the Dragons have achieved this year is directly as a result of Ben Hunt playing out of his fucking skin. I'll never fucking forget it. The whole thing was when we were doing the Tigers versus the Dragons. Was it Tigers Dragons or was it just a Dragons game?
No, it was Tigers Dragons.
And you said if only Ben Hunt could pass to Ben Hunt, and then he chipped for himself and fucking scored. That's the Dragons season. So yeah, no, without him, Broncos.
Yep. Okay, so on that note, that's it for round 17. All the rest of the teams have, with a bye, that's Canberra, Canterbury, Gold Coast, Manly, North Queensland, Penrith, Sydney, and the Warriors. So we look forward to New South Wales closing out the Origin series next week, and the games returning to their full slate of 8 per round. And on that is full time for episode 376. As always, if you'd like to support the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TWiL Just a shout out to a couple of our new patrons. We got a bunch of Matts have become patrons recently. So we obviously we're resonating hard with the Matt community, with the Matt High in general.
Well, they're back.
Yeah, they are, and they finally destroyed the fucking scourge that is the Mitches. If you remember the war of about fucking 7 years ago between the two camps. And while I was looking for some just an endless stream of Matts to fucking shout out for becoming patrons, I was reminded of a message that I actually saved to mention on the show, and it's around the time of the Perth Origin, I think it was. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was before then. It was at the start of June, from an old, a long-term listener and supporter of the show, Ross, a long-term pain in my fucking ass. Knights fan, and but he sent us a message through Patreon, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle a bit, and I did mark it to read out, but I only just noticed it tonight when I was looking at patrons to shout out. I just wanted to remind all of TWiL Nation how lucky you guys are who are able to watch NRL live on a regular basis. 2 weeks ago, I went to watch a game live for the first time in over a decade, with the exception of the Origin and the Nines in Perth. It was the Knights playing the Broncos in Newcastle, and being there live was such a great experience. Despite getting beaten, the Knights put in finally and were in it until they went to Wayne Bennett in the bunker. What I wanted to talk about was the experience, though. I went with an old mate and his 5-year-old grandson. This kid and a bunch of them around us were in heaven, and isn't that what our sport's about? Over time, we can become a bit bitter and twisted, and it takes moments like this to remind me the pure joy the game can bring. Maybe I need to plan a trip to Magic Round, but I'm not sure at my age my liver could survive it. And he said, P.S. The kids went bonkers whenever the ball got within 5 metres of Ponga, and their parents said he's fabulous with the kids, so give him a break.
Look, don't worry about your age. Grover goes to Magic Round. I'm pretty sure he's 287 years old.
Grover's actually 23. And he's just...
He's just 287.
And his liver has just made him 65 years old.
The human prune just gives everyone the shits.
But yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's like... Yes, stepdad. I'm pretty sure he didn't have anything to drink at Magic Round this year.
No.
And I only had one or two at the very start. Knowing that I was driving later. So believe me, it's not the drunk fest that you may think. Are there people that literally start drinking at 10:01 a.m. and do not fucking stop until closing time 3 days in a row? Absolutely, yes. And is there a lot of them? Yes.
Can you cover up autism with alcohol? No.
No.
How do we know this?
You can't.
We watched people try.
Experience. a tremendous amount of lived experience. So please do come to Magic Round or come to, COVID permitting, but I think we're good. I'm feeling confident that this year we can finally get back on the grand final weekends down in Sydney. So, make your way across to one of those ones if the May timetable doesn't suit you. But yeah, we'd love to catch up and fucking finally throw down, motherfucker, after all these years.
Jesus.
A drink, of course.
Yeah.
With good-natured banter.
Seen how you operate. Poor Ross.
You have not seen me fucking punch on a single person at a fucking thing ever. Stop lying, bitch.
I've seen you.
How dare you
fucking
have fucking
want to.
right.
I've seen you get close.
Oh, it's true. You have seen me try and instigate. Yeah. Okay. No, I take that back. Yeah. Yeah. No. You're talking about You're talking about the 2014 grand final.
You know what the fuck I'm talking about, cunt.
I could tell you that you're making that up because you're so drunk you passed out in the taxi on the way to the game.
I remember every fucking single thing about it.
You didn't even fucking come to until fucking half time of that game. You were so drunk.
I went to another place. What were you saying about Stranger Things before? That's where I fucking went to. In the car.
It's called, you went to the Upside Down.
Yeah, I fucking sure did.
Got touched by a Demogorgon.
Nicklin has this term when I'm fucking having a little moment or deep in thought or having typically it's when I'm having a bit of a fucking crash, anxiety or mental health wise. But she says she calls it when I go upstairs. And she's like, I can be dead set standing in front of you, and your eyes are open, but you may as well just be passed out. It's just in a whole nother place. So, yeah, Glennie, have you gone upstairs, mate? That's. I definitely went upstairs in the back of that cab.
You went fucking. You started fucking constructing new fucking stories on top of upstairs.
That was, and to get out of the cab and look up and see police officers, the level of paranoia that I wasn't going to get into the and I'm just like literally had to think about keeping myself upright and walking past them, and I'm sure they would have taken one look at me had they noticed. And
but you don't get you don't get arrested just for being drunk on a grand final weekend when literally everybody around you is drunk.
I had a similar situation. I wasn't anywhere near as drunk on a Melbourne Cup day, and we'd been at the races all day, got out of the cab, literally same thing, got out of the cab, stepped onto the footpath, looked up, and the bouncer's like, "You're not coming in, you're too drunk." Come. I said, "Mate, you could be right, but there's no way you could have assessed that in the time it's taken me to get out of the cab." "Yeah, well, now you're being a smart ass, you're definitely not coming in." "Oh, okay." So I got back in the cab and went home. But those police officers, they would have taken one look at me, surely.
Yeah, no bouncers at the footy, mate.
No, definitely not.
I'll let anyone in. Believe me, they let me in 2016 when I was so fucking drunk. I look back on the videos and and shit from that fucking that grand final. Oh my god,
that must have been, when was that?
The Sharkies one. Sharkies, yeah. They did the. They did the. I know that. I know that our mate Benny will have the photo saved on his phone or whatever. But they did this. Like this big panoramic sort of photo of the Sharks end, which was where we were sitting, and you can see me, and they've caught me like in the middle of like. It looks like I'm just fucking out, like just out, just sat there. Which I was very drunk, but I wasn't out. But the frame when they just caught the camera shot, it just looks like I'm so fucking blind.
So good.
It's amazing. And I'm sure Benny's listening to this. He'll chuck it into the Facebook group for everyone to enjoy, because I know he's got it. That was a very special day for him as a Sharks fan.
Yeah. That's a long-winded way to say, hey Ross, get yourself to a fucking meetup.
Yeah, fuck yeah, do it, man. And it's a long-winded say to everybody. The red carpet is rolled out. Fucking come along, and if we get to go, and this thing like COVID,
you make
COVID's
it
fucked
sound
up.
so attractive until people get there and have to deal with you two cunts. Because I'm a delight.
Yeah, let's see.
Fucking delight.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but it's been 2 years. We've had two. Well, it's been more too. We've missed 2 meetups because of COVID. So, really hoping that we can do the weekend this late September or October, whatever it falls on this year, and yeah, really looking forward to it. And it's gonna be fucking huge because there's a lot of people out. There's a lot of people down in Sydney that are great supporters of the show. For whatever reason, haven't been able to get up to like do the Magic Round thing. So it's been a while, and so looking to catch up with those folks as well. And on that note, boys, we'll chat to you on Monday.
That you will.
Fantastic. Have an excellent weekend. How good is it? 2 points this weekend. Sorry, Glennie.
I agree.
Banked.
Mate. I agree.
Banking the 2 points. It's just so easy.
It is. It is. A flawless origin period. How good.
And the other way you could look at it is, well, there's no footy on this weekend. 0 footy weekend.
Does that like hit home, Glennie? Like all these other teams have all of these fucking superstar players out representing places, and have not dropped a game during the origin period, and the Tigers have no one, and can't win,
and still can't win.
Yeah, you don't even get your illegitimate cup this year.
Look, we still play Penrith in a few weeks, don't we? That's going to be interesting.
Pretty legitimate though.
So, Glennie's going upstairs again. I can see it.
Oh, fuck it up.
See you, boys.
All right.
Later.
See ya.